So for this sequence, we are going to think about strengthening. And again, we don't have to do every single one in the same order. The best thing to do is intersperse these things into your day and actually use them as mini movement breaks so that we aren't staying in one position for too long and we're keeping our body moving. So once you've learned the exercises, you can sort of spread them throughout your day. But let's go through them all now. Let's do them together, and then you can, use this video again and again if you want to as well. So what we're going to do first is we're going to think about strengthening the outer thigh, and we're going to do monster walks. Now this is a great one to do around the house, and I'll show you'll see why in a moment. So our starting position, feet facing forward in our neutral stance. So remembering, everything's sort of balanced as best we can. So we feel like everything's even and symmetrical-ish. And then what we're going to do is keep the legs straight, is we're going to take a step out to the side, and then we're going to step back. And it's a bit like we're sort of teetering and then coming back. But we are keeping the legs straight all the time. Now, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to give us some extra teaching tips as we do it. So we can step from side to side quite easily on a mat or anything, any surface. Now, we want to feel like we're leading almost with the heel or the side of the foot to keep the knee facing forward. So what we don't or try not to do is step like this. So we're not doing a sort of side step. Imagine that you're kind of a crab. We're using the outside of the hip to open up. Okay, so feet facing forward, knees facing forward. And it's fine to look down at the feet and the knees to make sure that's happening. And then once you feel like you've got that in the body, then to look forward. Hands can do whatever you like. It's quite useful to place them on the outside of the hips. Then you can actually feel the muscles as you step to the side. Now, you'll see now why, if you want to, move around the house like this. So if you're getting up, if you've been working at a desk and you're getting up, why not walk all the way to the kitchen this way and then turn around and walk all the way back? Or wherever you are, you can do it slowly, you can do it fast. Now, after a while, it does look a bit weird, but after a while, you'll start to feel, or it might not even be long, you'll start to feel these outer hips warming up or burning, let's say, which is good. It means that we're strengthening around the hips. Now, I would say start off a few times and see how it feels. See how it feels in the body. That's what we always want to do with these new movements, is just test them out and see how they feel. If you like it, if you want to feel the burn and you want to increase it, what you can actually do, if you've got one of those stretchy bands, you can put one around your thighs and just add a little bit of resistance. But we don't need to worry about that to start with. The main thing is we're wanting to get this outer hip area stronger, okay? So that's our monster walks. So doing them whenever we're walking anywhere, just a bit of a fun way. It's quite fun actually to walk sideways for a change. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a straightforward, simple squat. Now, what the key thing is here is keeping, again, everything kind of in line, and we're going to use our glutes and start strengthening the glute muscles when we stand up. So I want you to think about, I'm just squeezing my shoulders to kind of release any tension. Think about bringing the arms slightly forward. That's going to counterbalance us. We're going to look forward. We're going to keep the shoulders relaxed. And then we're going to sit down as though we're sitting in a chair, as though we're thinking, is there a chair behind? And then to come up, we're going to press our heels into the mat to try and squeeze our glutes on to lift us all the way up. When we bend down, we're not trying to go too far. It is very much like you're sort of cautious about the chair behind. Is there a chair? No, there isn't. I'm going to come back up. So it's very different to any sort of gym squat. We're not trying to do this. We want to be very mindful and careful with the movement that we do. So nice and slowly coming back up. So I'll show you from the front. Again, everything's kind of hip distance apart. We're not going wider than the hips. The key things here are pressing the heels down into the mat or the floor when you stand up, so that you can feel like the glutes are switching on. Now, if you want to, you can place the hands on the glutes and see whether you can feel them squeezing as you come up. If you can, brilliant. If you can't, don't worry, it'll come. When you do get up, what we want to do is relax the bottom, relax everything. So we're starting from that neutral position. So you're coming up, switching the glutes on to come up, and then we're releasing them again. I want to try and help you connect to the glute muscles. So we're switching them on. Now, couple of things we don't want to do is, what we don't want to do is come up and then thrust the hip forward. So it isn't this quick movement here. We might see this in a gym, we might have been even taught to do this or see it in a class. That's not for us. That movement is going to tighten your pelvic floor, because what it's doing is constantly, it's like doing a Kegel, because it's squeezing on that squeezing the bottom, it's squeezing the pelvic floor as well. And if we're not releasing it, then it's just constantly getting tighter, and the tight muscles can cause issues. So we don't want that. So that's why we want to do it slowly. And again, it's not about, doing a certain amount. Really, it's just about getting the glutes working again and feeling that connection between the body. So it can be really small. Keep the gaze looking forward, keep the chest kind of lifted, and just really gently go into it, and then relax the bottom. Now, if you start to feel like, or you can feel, if you have a prolapse, you start to feel that prolapse feeling, then maybe you're squeezing the glutes too tight. Just relax and just release from it, and do, just wriggle the legs a little bit and release it. So we don't want to work towards getting that tight sensation in the glutes. That's definitely a sign that we're probably squeezing too tight. So that's our squat, really slow, really simple, just connecting those glute muscles to the brain, getting everything working, okay? So the next one we're gonna do is trying to activate our lovely core. And we're gonna do that from a tabletop position. So we're gonna come down to our hands and knees. We're going to bring in the breath as well on this one, a little bit of movement and a lot of breath. So keep the gaze down, keep everything sort of in a neutral position. Try and keep the pelvis untucked, so we don't want it rounding, we want it to be in an untucked position. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a breath in, we're going to breathe out, tuck the toes, and on that whole breath out, we're going to lift the knees for about an inch off the floor, and then we're going to lower it. So I'm going to show you, because I can't talk and breathe and show you all at the same time. So okay, so when that breath has gone, then we relax the belly, relax everything, take a few breaths in between. So what you're doing is, so you're tucking the toes and you're lifting just a little way off the floor, keep pushing back through the toes, keep the bottom sticking out, feels like it's kind of sticking out, and then lowering down, and do that for a few, maybe 5 just to start off with, or just a few. You might find that that's quite a challenging position if you've not done it before. So a couple of things that we're doing here is we are connecting the breath and the core. When you lift the knees, you're activating this lower core area, the transverse abdominis that sits deep and across. So we're not thinking about the kind of surface muscles. We want to connect this deeper layer of core muscle here. So that's what we're engaging. So let's do a few more if that feels all right, just to see whether we can practice that and get that in the body. So tuck the toes, nice breath in, relax the belly to start with. Breathe out. And then relax. Take a few breaths in between. Let the body relax. Make sure the belly's relaxed. So if you do feel the contraction in the pelvic floor and the core naturally, make sure we can try and feel it releasing in between. Then let's do it one more time together. then release. Okay, so again, that's going to take some while to take some time to build up strength. See how that feels for you. Maybe just practice a few at a time, but we kind of want to feel this connection. What we don't need to do is artificially suck the belly in and scoop the pelvic floor up. We want to try and get the core working. And sometimes it takes a while to really think about that connection in the brain. It's happening, but you might not feel it straight away. And one way of helping you is to maybe close the eyes whilst you're doing it, so that you're shutting off your visual sense, and then you can try and focus on the feeling, the interoception in your body. So that sensation of connecting inwards, because we can do it, it's there, but we might not just be trained in doing it, we might not be used to doing it. Okay, so there are 3 areas there for you to think about your strength. So we've got outer thigh, core strength, and your glute strength. So practice those, enjoy them, especially if you've been sitting for a long time. So activating your muscles really helps, just to bring in some, the blood flow, bring in the movement, and, bring everything kind of getting it a little bit stronger.